Saying things people already know out loud is tight.
Avada Kedavra.
You park in front of your house, I park in front of my house.
This is
Hey, if you don't stop, I will contact the usher.
What's up, everyone? It's Adam from FWCI, and I didn't realize it at the time, but what's his name? Shazam was the last of the DC pitch meetings that there was to do. That's it. They're all done. So no more DC pitch meetings left to do. I'm glad I got through the whole lot. Well, a lot to unpack with the DC movies. But I'm going to do a few random ones in the meantime before I start my next pitch meeting reaction series, which is going to be the Harry Potter series. I'm just getting to the end of those movies now. So I'm going to do the pitch meetings, and then after that, I don't know, we'll look for whatever other series. So much Ryan George content out there to enjoy. So plenty to bring to you guys in the future. Speaking of the future, no pun intended, Back to the Future pitch meeting. I loved Back to the Future growing up. Biff is hilarious. Number 2 used to be on TV all the time. It was on, like, it felt like every 3 to 6 months it was on TV in like a primetime slot. So very familiar with the second movie. I personally think that the Back to the Future trilogy is the best movie trilogy ever. To be honest, I really think that's the truth, and I love the way they tied all these movies in with each other. But let's see how Ryan George is going to... Is he going to tear holes in logic? I'm sure there are some logic holes in this movie, although I feel like they did a pretty good job to avoid any of that. Is it going to be about the storyline with Marty McFly and his old lady? I don't know, you tell me. But let's check out Back to the Future with Ryan George. Subscribe, super thanks, let's do it.
So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do. It's gonna be called Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. Not sure about that title. I'll try to come up with something else.
Okay, I mean, I feel like that works, though.
Well, we'll see. So what happens in this thing?
Well, we're gonna meet this teenager, Marty McFly, and he's hanging out at his friend's house, this wacky old scientist guy, Dr. Emmett Brown.
Oh, and how did they become friends?
Somehow, I imagine.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, thank God. So Doc Brown, he's...
Okay, yeah, good point. They never really fleshed out the backstory between Marty and Doc. Did Doc go back in time and befriend Marty because he knew that he needed him? I don't know.
real wacky. He says Great Scott all the time.
Oh, Scott is tight.
Fantastic. So Marty's life is pretty crappy. Like his
Scott is great.
His dad gets bullied by this guy named Biff. His mom is an alcoholic. His brother has a crappy job, and his sister can't find a boyfriend.
Yikes.
And then one night, Doc brings Marty to a shopping mall parking lot because he built a time machine out of a DeLorean.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so we're gonna have this really fun scene where they engage in some casual, animal testing.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah, Doc puts his dog inside the DeLorean, sends him into the future, and you know what? He doesn't die.
His dog...
Yeah, I forgot that Doc Brown puts Einstein in the car as an experiment. That is straight up animal testing. Good point.
Doc puts his dog inside the DeLorean, sends him into the future, and you know what? He doesn't die.
Is Doc the bad guy?
Well, what would make you think he's the bad guy? So anyway, then the terrorists he's been dealing with show up.
You're sure he's not the bad guy?
Yeah, no. He ripped these guys off for some plutonium, so they murder him.
Oh, what is going on?
And so Marty escapes in the DeLorean and accidentally goes back to 1955.
That's in the past.
It certainly is, sir. And so he's gonna run into his dad, George McFly.
Oh, that's interesting. An encounter with his dad in the past.
Yeah. And so pretty much immediately he finds out that his dad's a peeping Tom.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he saves his dad from getting hit by a car, but then he gets hit by a car.
Oh.
And so he's taken in by his mom Lorraine's family.
Oh, good lord, Marty McFly. The storyline of this is ridiculous. And this movie is actually quite, lewd in a lot of ways. Like, we nearly see somebody force themselves on Lorraine. The dad's a peeping Tom. Like, obviously there's a whole other conversation about this that, doesn't really even need to be said. But, man, this movie was fucking wild.
And she is all over him when he wakes up. I mean, she really wants to sleep with him.
What are you talking about?
See, the whole thing is that Marty's parents met after George was hit by that car, but now since Marty was hit by the car, Lorraine just wants to hook up with him. She's on a path to end up with him.
Right, okay, I feel like that's pretty messed up for a movie.
Yeah, so the whole movie, Lorraine's trying really hard to get into her son's pants.
I do not like that sentence.
Well, she doesn't know that it's her future son.
I don't see how that's gonna be fun for anyone to watch.
I feel like everybody's gonna love.
Okay, I definitely suspect he's going to talk about how the hell did Lorraine and George how the hell, what happened when Marty McFly got born and Lorraine and George saw that he looked exactly like Calvin from when they were a kid. If I was George, I would have had questions, no matter how successful my novel was.
Love it.
Well, if you say so. So what else happens?
Well, so Marty's gonna spend the movie trying to get his dad to hook up with his mom instead of him, because the future's getting all messed up now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he goes to see Doc in 1955, and Doc is like, uh-oh, Marty, this isn't good.
How can he tell?
Well, Marty has this photo with him from the future, and you can see his siblings starting to disappear from it bit by bit, because they were never born.
So that exact photo at that exact time, at that exact angle, was still taken despite the wildly different circumstances?
That's what we're going with.
Well, okay then.
So anyway, Marty hatches a plan to get Lorraine to go to the...
That's okay. He hasn't fucked things up. I get it. No, he has fucked things okay. Yes. I'll chalk one up for you, Ryan George.
dance with George instead of him and get them to fall in love.
How does he plan on doing that? Sorry, sir, can I just a minute, Larry. So what's the plan?
Well, he's gonna pretend to force himself on his own mother, and then his father's gonna come in and beat him off, and that's really gonna impress the mom, and then she's gonna want to hook up with him instead of her own son.
Okay, I'm gonna go. You sure? You can stick around. No, I insist. Not sure what that guy's problem was, so how does the plan play out?
Oh, well, turns out that bully Biff shows up, and he actually tries to force himself on Lorraine.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's really going at it. He's really trying to take advantage of this girl.
And you're sure this is a family movie?
Yeah, exactly.
So then George really does save the day by standing up to Biff and punching him out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then at that school dance, Marty's gonna play Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry.
Great song.
And it turns out Chuck Berry's cousin is there, so he calls Chuck and he's like, hey, you know that new sound you're looking for?
So Chuck Berry steals the song Johnny Be Good from over a phone.
He does, yeah, fun little tidbit.
But if Marty hadn't performed it, Chuck Berry would have come up with it word for word just a couple of years later.
Right, but now in this timeline, Chuck Berry's a plagiarist, so it's fun.
Right, okay, I guess that's a fun moment.
So anyway, now that Marty's ensured that his parents are gonna procreate, he has to go back to the future.
That's the name of the movie.
That last part of the sentence, yeah, not the whole sentence.
Okay, so yeah, I actually did just think of a title that might be a bit better.
Okay.
What if we call it Spaceman from Pluto?
Spaceman from Pluto?
Yeah, that is a real note that a Hollywood studio executive is giving. Let's call it Spaceman.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to call this movie instead of Back to the Future. And I'm pretty sure they wanted to have a fridge as the time machine instead of a DeLorean. Good work, whoever the Universal or whoever did this movie.
And from Pluto instead of Back to the Future.
Oh, I feel like, God no.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, to be discussed, I guess.
So what else happens?
Well, Doc and Marty need to use this famous lightning strike on a clock tower to power the time machine back to the 80s.
Okay.
And before they do, Marty gives Doc a letter informing him that he's gonna be shot in the future and he needs to protect himself.
Oh, smart.
But Doc is like, no, I cannot know any information about the future. The results could be disastrous. So he tears the...
What the hell?
But then Marty's like, oh, I have a time machine. I could just go warn him in the future.
Very clever.
Very clever. So he gives himself 11 minutes.
Whoa, why would he give himself 11 minutes? Why not give himself a couple of hours or even days?
Well, he's gonna give himself 11 minutes because it's more exciting this way.
Fair enough. So is it going to be tough for Doc to survive?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it turns out Doc taped the note back together, so he puts on a bulletproof vest.
Oh, well, thank God he did a complete 180 on his passionate speech about knowing about the future.
Yeah, it really worked out. So then
What the hell, Marty?
and they're just completely different now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, his dad's a super successful author, his brother has a great job, his sister has a good dating life.
Okay, the darkness of Marty McFly's existence, literally existing in a world of which he has no history or no knowledge of his past life, I guess. Like, that's like almost like a Black Mirror twist at the end, except they just don't acknowledge it.
George is a rich author and they still live in the same house?
They do.
The brother has a good office job and he still lives at home?
He does.
Well, okay then.
Oh, and also now Biff gets hired by George to wax his car.
George hired the guy who...
Now, Biff, don't con me. I love that line.
tried to assault his wife.
He did. He's like, that Biff is such a character. He's always trying to get away with something.
Like assaulting his wife.
Yeah, quite the character. And so now Marty gets to go on a date, and he has a nice car.
Now wait, so his entire family have had a different life, but Marty still has the memories and experiences of the original timeline?
Yeah.
So what happens to the version of Marty that was living with the family on this new timeline that they were interacting with on a daily basis?
Yeah, don't worry about any of that.
Oh, okay, I won't.
Great. So
I don't think I've ever thought of that. Because there would have to be another Yeah, where does Marty even exist as, like, his home universe at that point? Is he still the Marty from the universe where everything sucks? Or does... This is raising some... Yeah, this is raising a lot of questions. Holy shit.
So what do you think?
Well, it sounds insane and inappropriate in several ways, but somehow I do think it'll be a classic.
Oh yeah, nobody's ever gonna dare to even think about remaking this thing.
Tom Holland confirms talks have happened. Yeah, okay, I don't hate reboots and remakes. It doesn't mean the original one doesn't exist, and sometimes they can be fun. Sometimes I find I watch when I'm watching some of these new reboots, like Bill and Ted, or was it Jay and Silent Bob had one? Like there have been a few of these recently. I kind of watch it, even the Jurassic Park one to a lesser degree, but I kind of watch it as like a one-off. It's like, watch it, enjoy it, good. But they don't sort of stick and resonate as much. But with that being said, Cobra Kai has nailed it for 5 seasons straight. I've just been loving that series, and of all these like new reboots or remakes that are happening, I still think Cobra Kai's done it, the best. I guess if you want to chuck Spider-Man No Way Home in there as well, that was done pretty goddamn well as well. So, great video. Yeah, what happens to that version of Marty? That's a bit of a strange one as well. And yeah, why are you keeping Biff around? Didn't he try? Yeah, no. But the Back to the Future trilogy always captured my imagination. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Back to the Future moment is. Did you grow up on Back to the Future? Did you not see it? This is actually one of my favorite movie franchises to watch reacting to. Just because it's such a wild story, and the beats that are coming up of like the big moments and the big reveals and stuff like that. And yeah, let me know who your favorite Back to the Future reaction is as well. I want to hear all about it in the comments. And as always, everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.